stream. I'm sorry for the delay. I had a consultation which went a bit longer than expected originally, so I had to postpone the live stream. My apologies for that. I'm all yours now though. So there is still this myth. I hear it all the time, or like from time to time, not all the time, but from time to time, and I actually don't know where it's coming from. And I've never found an article about this. It's like this, like how you call it, like the city myth or whatever, like these weird stories which like just people tell each other, but no one really knows the origin or whatever. So guys, if you have seen this information somewhere, please let me know in the comments or just send us a message. I'll be happy to see that. But the thing is that people think that as a student you can only work 20 hours a week, which used to be like that maybe like 15 years ago when we were starting Move to Prague. Okay, I think the rule was there back then, but since then it's not like that. And I will explain today how it is exactly, if you can work as a student, how much, if the 20 hours like apply or whatever are the rules. But if you guys have seen this somewhere like officially written, or even in just like some blog or article or whatever, please send it my way, because I haven't been able to find the source, but it somehow is still circulating among people, and I just wonder how. But hopefully that stops today. So if you guys hear someone else talking about that or asking about that or mentioning 20 hours, please share this video with them so they get the information as well. But first thing is that we need to distinguish two types of student. What I'm talking about in this live stream is the proper students, let's say proper students, meaning students of accredited programs of Czech universities. Because only in that case, if you study an accredited program and it's like daily studies, not distant studies, but daily studies, then you qualify as a student. There might still be some exceptions, but in generally like 99% of people only fall under the student category if they study an accredited course, daily studies of Czech university. There is also the other kind of student option where you study a course which is not accredited. And usually that means that you're applying for the other type of visa. It's again not always like that. There are different like weird rules about that. But generally speaking, if you have the other visa, then you don't usually qualify as a student. So if you have the other visa, or if you generally just study non-accredited course, then this video is not about you, because you cannot work. Again, there are some more exceptions. For example, if you're an American, Canadian, and like one of the 9 nationalities which got the free access to the labor market in general recently in July 2024. I've done another video about that. So if you're like from one of these countries like Canada, New Zealand, Australia, the US, and 5 more, which I don't remember, then you might still be able to work even under the other purpose of stay. But for the rest of you, if you have the other visa or other residence permit, you cannot work. So whatever I'm talking about today is about the students that study accredited programs. Now, can you work full-time or not? That's the main question. And yes, that's the simple option. Potentially you can work full-time as long as you fulfill the purpose of your stay. And if you have a student visa or student residence permit, the purpose of your stay is studies. That means that you primarily need to fulfill all the student requirements. So if your school has some attendance limits, like you need to go to 60% of your classes in person or something, then you have to stick to that. You need to pass all your exams, because if you don't pass your exams, if you get expelled of the school, or if you quit the school, stop going there, then you lose the privileges of a student as well, because you're not a student anymore. So you mainly need to study, and like study successfully to keep the privileges. But if you manage to combine these two, like studying full-time and working full-time, you can do it. Of course, then the question is, like, there are many different scenarios. Like if you're applying, for example, for the extension of your student residence permit and you use your employment contract for like to prove your income, that might be a bit suspicious for the Ministry of the Interior. They could question if you really study or if your primary purpose of your stay is employment, and if you switch to the employee card or stuff like that. But generally, if you manage to fulfill your student requirements and work full-time, you can do that. This kind of applies because that's another part of the question which usually people ask us, if this applies both to visa holders, student visa holders, and student residence permit holders. It does. The difference there is how easy or difficult it is for you to prove to your employer if you can work or not. Because some employers have pretty good HR teams, pretty good experience with employing foreigners, that's fine. Some companies hire us to deal with that, so that's fine as well. But some companies might not have that much experience or zero experience basically with hiring foreigners. So it might be a bit more complicated to prove that you can work. If you have the residence permit, if you have the student residence permit, that clearly says if you can work. So if your residence permit says that you have free access to the labor market, yes, ano, on the card, then you can work and it's easy for you to understand, easy for the employer to understand. The long-term visa, which is the sticker in your passport, does not say this. So the visa itself is not really a proof that you can work as well. So you would need to also provide a confirmation of studies from your university showing that you study an accredited program and that it's daily studies, that it's not like distant studies that you only go to school like on weekends or something like that. And if you combine these two, then you still, in most cases, qualify to get employed in the Czech Republic as a student. Yeah. And now that was the second topic. Third topic now is what also happens to us pretty often in relation to students, that they ask us, or you ask us, if you should switch from the student visa or student residence permit to an employee card. And there is kind of a lot to cover. So I will go through three main things with you. Okay. First is that the ministry does not really like that. And they see it kind of as a fraud. Of course, it depends on your nationality. So if you're an American, you want to do it, probably they will not care much. If you're an Indian and you want to do it, they will probably care a lot. Because the thing is that, say in India, there is a limit, there is a quota for how many people can come to work to the Czech Republic yearly. The quota is, say, 1,000 people if your employer is part of the special government program. Outside of the program is the quota 0. So 0 people from India can come to the Czech Republic to work if their employer is not part of the governmental program. 0. So if you want to come to the Czech Republic to work, you cannot do it. So the easy way to deal with that is to apply for a student visa, come here as a student, and then switch to an employee card, which many people do. Here comes the problem. That's misusing the visa, and the ministry sees that. The thing is, we regularly meet with the highest representatives of the ministry, and they told us the last time, which was already like a year ago, that they see this tendency there, like they see this thing increasing in happening, which means that they will make the rules to get a student visa even more complicated. That's why many of you are getting denied now for student visas, because the ministry does not see you as someone who really wants to study in the Czech Republic, but as someone who's applying for a student visa, like a fake application, just to get to the Czech Republic so they can find a job and switch to the employee card. So this is already messing up the whole immigration system. And that's kind of the fault of the people who do this. And you're messing it up for everyone else coming after you as a student, because now more and more students will be getting denied because the ministry will not believe that they want to study. They will think that they're applying for the student visa just to get here and switch to an employee card. So that's one of the reasons why I would not really recommend switching to the employee card, because it will mess up everyone else's processes. One thing. Second thing is that the student residence permit gives you more flexibility in terms of employment, because you have free access to the labor market, so you can change jobs as much as you want. You can have 2 jobs if you want, like you can have 20 hours here, 20 hours there, 15 hours there. You can also get a trade license and freelance on the side. Your purpose of stay is studies. So as long as you want to, as long as you study, you can keep the residence permit. And if you want to focus on studies a bit more, you just quit in the job and you can focus more on studies. If the studies are a bit easier for you because, I don't know, it's like summer and you don't have school, you can work more. This is more difficult if you have an employee card, because the employee card, in case of the employee card, the purpose of your stay is employment. So the school is the secondary activity. So if you need more time to focus on school, you cannot really do it because your employee card is attached to a full-time employment. So you cannot really just decrease the amount of hours you work or something like that, or you can, but it will be more complicated. So also staying under the student residence permit gives you more flexibility in terms of employment. Third thing is kind of related to the second point, that many people, I've seen this happen. This is from what I've seen and from the experience, not just like some theoretical thing, that often people, if they don't go through us for the employee card process, often students apply for the non-dual employee card. Because as a student, you have free access to the labor market, so you can technically apply for the easier option of the employee card. But that can get you into serious trouble, which is what I've seen. And that is that you only have the free access to the labor market as long as you study or as long as you get a Czech diploma from an accredited program. So if you switch to an employee card, to the non-dual employee card, meaning with the free access to the labor market, and then you quit your studies, or you are quit by the school because you didn't pass the exams, or you get sick and you just cannot go to the school, then you lose the right to work. So A, you cannot work. B, you have a residence permit based on work, which you cannot do. So your residence permit, your employee card, will be denied at some point or canceled, and you will need to leave. So the only way, when you should switch to a non-dual employee card, if you're 100% certain that you will finish the university, basically meaning that you've passed all the exams, you've written your thesis, and now you're just waiting for the diploma or something. So at that point, you can be 100% sure it will work out. But if you switch to a non-dual employee card before then, you risk losing everything if you don't pass your exams, if you don't finish the school. So that's one thing. And if you already want to switch to an employee card, you've considered all the factors, that you're messing it up for everyone else coming after you, and you have a stable job, you will be able to combine that, whatever, then I would still recommend switching to the standard employee card, not to the non-dual employee card, which can be very risky, as I explained before. But switching to the standard employee card, which means that your employer advertises the job, you get the vacancy number, which actually is pretty simple right now because there is no test of the labor market. I've done another video about that. You can also find the blog on movetoprague.com website, because the test of the labor market is no longer 30 days, so you don't have to wait for the vacancy number for 30 days. It's basically issued immediately and you can use it. So you don't even need to wait for the vacancy number. So it's pretty simple to get the vacancy number and switch to a proper normal employee card. And that will keep you safe whatever happens with your studies. So if you want to do it, if you want to switch to the employee card, switch to the normal employee card with the vacancy number and not to the simplified version where you risk losing everything if you don't finish your studies. Of course, if you need any help with any of this, let us know. Contact us through the website or send me a message or something. We'll be happy to help, but also consider everything I mentioned before. Now, let's see, I see that there are some comments, so let's see if there are questions related to this, because this is not an open live stream. So if I find questions related to this, I will answer. If I find questions which are not related to this, I will not answer that, because this is not that type of live stream. So Manosh, hey sir, I've got an offer at ČTU. I have my long-term visa interview 17. On the day of interview, they ask for applicants to write some questions. They didn't keep any for me. They ask only questions while collecting documents, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's not connected to this. What's going on here though? Mr. Perfecto. This is a live stream about some immigration topic related to the Czech Republic. I've done, I think, like 400 live streams like that. You can go to my channel and check all the previous topics. And Yazan, I applied for a family reunification visa for my wife. They think it's not serious relationship. Okay, so that's not related to this topic either. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you know someone who still thinks they can only work 20 hours a week as a student, please share the video or share the blog we've written on movetoprague.com website. I will link the link in the description of the video, and I'll see you again Thursday, Monday, until the end of the world. Good night, guys. Bye-bye.